This is Patty with the Leather Lady LLC, and we're going to be talking today about twisting your stirrup leathers. Going to give you some tidbits on what to do, what not to do, and what is old myth, and how to actually go about doing it. Now, there's so many ways to twist your stirrups. Some old timers don't want to do like the Colorado twist or the Nevada twist where it squeezes them all together and then you wrap around it. Some don't like that because it does damage the leather to a point. Some don't like the flat twisting. So we're going to talk about all different types of twisting. First thing I'm going to talk about is everybody asks me, well, if I put a broomstick through the stirrups, will it help it to twist my stirrups? Yes, it can, but that's a temporary fix. Here's why. Think about this. This is about science and logic as far as the way our saddles are. So this is a saddle I am getting ready to twist the stirrups. So when we get our saddles, they are usually just flat like this, and our stirrups end up laying like this, sideways. Okay, so it doesn't allow our foot to go actually nice and neat and allow our feet and our knees to have a little bit of give and rest while we trail ride, especially after many, many hours. However, if you were to take this and put a broomstick in this and torque it and wet this down, yes, you're going to get some twist in there. Is it going to last? No. Think about this for a second. When you do that, it's going to stay until you start riding again. It's going to go back to somewhat its normal shape. And then when you start riding, you start putting pressure in that stirrup. What's going to happen is that's gradually just going to move back. So we want to make sure that that twist is going to stay. So there's only a few ways to do that. And we're going to show you how to do that today. All right, so this is not, of course, the stirrup for this because this is more of a endurance or English kind of trail, but it is a flat stirrup, great for your knees, great to do that. So if you notice, these are going to be actually twisted so that it turns this way. So there are ways of doing that. So I'm going to show you here. This is a Circle Y. They used to be made really, really well, and I'm not going to say anything more about that. But if you look at it and we pull the blevin back, okay, so here's your blevin on the back side. Ooh, I just had a knee replacement, so bear with me. I might have to take a couple of breaks. So we've got our blevins here. However, that's going to keep this at the same angle. Okay, what we need to do is take this blevin off. This is called a blevin. So we need to remove this blevin, and we actually need to reverse it. So when we reverse it, we can actually then instead of going in this way, we will take it and twist it going into this way. See what it's already doing to this leather? Okay, so and that's unfortunately more cheaply made. They're adding webbing, it's just a cheaper way to make a saddle these days. But the thing is, you will have to adjust that. You probably do have to have a saddle maker help you with this, or somebody who does work on saddles, because to get these burrs and rivets out they're supposed to be there permanently, so it can be even a hassle for us as saddle makers and saddle fitters. So basically, what we're going to do is we're going to take and twist this, and then that's going to be a flat. This is going to be a flat twist that I'm going to do on this. So by the time we get done on both sides, then those stirrups, what I'm going to do after that is I'm going to wet the whole fender down. Now, you got to be really, really careful when we're doing this. I'm just telling you the process. So when you actually do wet this is nice and dark, so it's not going to matter. But when we wet a leather fender down to get it so that we're going to shape and mold it, then it's really good to use distilled water. If you're using and you do have a light saddle, the problem with putting hoses or sink water on it, it carries mineral deposits. And what happens is if you end up having a light colored saddle, and you're going to get little polka dots all over it of little dark dots, that's your mineral deposits. So we don't want to put any water on here that is actually not distilled or been filtered, because this one here won't matter because it's dark. However, if it's a light saddle, you definitely don't want to do that, or you'll end up with spots all over, and then it lowers the value of the saddle. So I'm going to stop here. We have the, I took the blevin off and we replaced it. We switched it around. So rather than being this way with the blevin, it's going to be this way. So when we put it into the stirrup, it's actually going to twist this way, and it's going to hold the stirrup just straight. So I'm going to put this together for you. And what I did is I took burrs and rivets and put those in on the ends there. This has got a, never seen this, and I've seen it, but it's not very good, but to put on the back side. So I'm going to go ahead and put this all together. There is no stirrups with this saddle. Unfortunately, I don't have any extra stirrups in the shop, but I'm going to put this back on the stand. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. And then we do still need to wet it and make sure that it's going to stay in place. And we want to make sure that we soak these fenders down really, really good, because now that we want them to hold and mold into the area that we need to keep them in place for. So when I come back, we'll have this on the saddle stand and ready to wet and get to put in place for its final stage. All right, everybody, so we're back, and I'm going to take these off so you don't look like I have donuts in my eyeballs. So we've actually turned this stirrups, or the leathers here, and what I did is I placed a lot of water, and this is distilled water, because I don't, even though the saddle is dark, it's not my saddle, so I want to make sure that I'm protecting it as much as I can. So we put distilled water on the saddle, soak it completely so that we can keep that twist. Now, if these stirrups were actually the stirrups that were going to be there, the stirrups would be now sitting this way. All right, so this is a flat twist, and you can do twists in different manners. However, if the stirrups are that way. Now, if this is going to be that kind of a stirrup here that needs to go that way, it'll be that way as well. So people are saying, well, yeah, but you got this big thing hanging here. No, you can actually put that in your stirrup leather there and put that there. All right, so you can wet these, and what I do just to be sure is I completely wet them, and I want them to stay that way. They're going to stay that way because I've twisted the blevin. If I didn't twist the blevin, then it actually could gradually turn and be this way again. But I twisted the blevin. It's going to stay. For those of you that feel like you want still a little bit more twist, then what you're going to want to do is take it, wet the fenders down completely, wet the fenders down and the leathers down completely, and you can go ahead and stick a broomstick or whatever in there. And if at night you feel a bit more comfortable, just put it in at night and then let it just sit and rest until it's completely dry. Please make sure once it's completely dry that you oil the saddles afterwards, because water will completely dry it out. So you want to make sure that the oil is back into it, whether it has some lanolin into it or anything like that. And that's how we twist stirrups. That's a basic flat twist. Now you can do like a crunched where you wrap around it. That can be an I can't remember. They're called a Nevada twist, Texas twist, all those kind of things. However, I prefer to keep the leather as much as I can in its normal state, and it also makes it easier for repairs. Anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for being in my community. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, even just subscribe so that you know, and hit the notification so you know when I'm putting on new videos. And hopefully there's something there that will help you and learn. And if not, if it doesn't resonate for you, share it to, oh yeah, so-and-so might need this. So share it. That's all I ask. Have a wonderful day and stay blessed.